Da, 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 da. Beware of the fiend without a face. It doesn't have 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 a face. It's got no face. Anyway. Oh my god. Yeah, I just couldn't resist bringing you back to the history or the horror, whatever we're watching. These are horror films. That's what they are. Hello everyone, I told you I'd be back. It's a Criterion Horror-palooza. Woo! Number 92, Fiend Without a Face, Arthur Crabtree, Marshall Thompson, 1958, 74 minutes, black and white, unlike The Blob. Both made in 1958. This one's, this one's longer and in color. This one's shorter and in black and white. You can see, and this one has a little more special, definitely relies more on special effects than The Blob. The Blob relies more on its actors rather than crazy special effects. So this one, just like the other one, there's not much to say really. It's basically these mysterious deaths that happen near this airfield or this nuclear plant, and it involves these people, when they get attacked, as these invisible enemies, and you can see them moving. You can see little spatches, but you can't, you don't know where they are, and by the time it's too late, they've got your neck, and you writhe and scream, and you fall into your death, and as the bodies are examined, they notice that the brain is, taken out through these marks, and their spinal cords are totally missing. And so they blame the nuclear plant, so they want to shut that down. But they're like, no, it's not. They were doing tests. You got to do tests. And one of the Air Force guys is played by Marshall Thompson, whose name is Major Cummings. Yes, Major Cummings has to investigate, and he finds this professor who lives near the Professor Walgate, who lives near the nuclear plant and has been for several years, I guess. And he had been working on what turns out that he'd been working on telekinesis experiments, and the fact that he lived near the nuclear plant apparently brought his mind to this state where he's this super genius now. And so he totally thinks circles around people, and so he does these experiments, and the experiments get so strong that his thoughts become this monster that takes a form of a life of its own. It's invisible, but you can't see a thought, and it begins terrorizing people, and eventually it becomes so strong, I guess, that they become visible, and they turn out to be just like brains. They turn out to be brains with spinal cords, if you can see past the long ass essay, that they always print. It's not that long, but still, it's long enough. But yeah, and it turns out that they have to stop the nuclear plant to stop them, because that's the only way that they're feeding off that radiation. So they blow up the whole thing, and everybody's cool. And yeah, it's definitely more about the monster and less about the characters. Like the Blob. The Blob's more about the characters. Fiend Without a Face is, the only it sucks that there's one scene in the movie where I think the Major stumbles upon the daughter of, or somebody who works for the woman who works for the professor, Barbara Grissel, who in the shower, and he stumbles upon her, and she comes out and she's got a towel wrapped around her. She's like, oh god, and she runs back into the bathroom, and they use it on all that image of her, in a towel, on all the lobby cards or all the posters, as if, and she has this shocked look on her face as if she was scared of the monster, when it's just the stupid old Major, or whoever. I don't even know if it's the Major. It might be the Colonel or somebody, or the Captain. Somebody, comes in and sees her in her towel. And it's that's just so cheap, to use sex to drag you in, it's, I know there are movies, of course, it's just whatever. Of course, some movie posters have to be centered around sex, like Brown Bunny or something like that, or probably blue is the warmest color. I haven't seen the posters, and I hopefully never will. But that's not for another 6 years, so hey, we got time. Anyway, that's really all I can say about Fiend Without a Face. It definitely proves more creeps. It's definitely a lot creepier. I thought the scene where the brains dissolved was exceptionally gross, and definitely, they definitely exhausted their special effects budget on those scenes where they show the brains melting and dissolving. Just, the creepy bubbling and all that. Very, very gross, very grotesque for 1958. That's about it. That's all I can say about it. So, what would we give this one? We'll give it. It's not as, for me personally, it's not as entertaining as The Blob, just because. Maybe it's because it's the whole black and white thing. I'm used to. Maybe it's because it was in black and white, and I'm used to friggin' Mystery Science Theater 3000. This is one of those movies that MST3K would riff. The Blob, maybe not, because of the fact that it's in color. But I mean, of course, they have there's no prejudice between them. So long as the movie's bad, then that's what counts. And this movie isn't bad, but it rides the coattail. It rides this thin line, of what bad is. What do you give it? Give it a B. I'll give it a B. It's not the most entertaining movie, but it's it does the job, and the concept is intelligent and I think pretty fresh, compared to others. So it's not crap, but it's not the most awesome movie ever. So B. Supplements. Let's talk supplements. The commentary. Illustrated essay. There's a long essay that shows photos where this film historian Bruce Eder, another white guy probably, it compares it to other horror films of the day, other films that I guess Arthur Crabtree had done, such as another one with Marshall Thompson, First Man into Space, and Haunted Strangler, and all things like that. Then there's 5 trailers, a collection of trailers from Gordon Films. I guess we're also part of Amalgamated Production. There's Fiend Without a Face, of course. Haunted Strangler, Boris Karloff. Quarters of Blood, Boris Karloff, and Christopher Lee. It's kind of cool. First Man into Space, which is Marshall Thompson again. And then The Atomic Submarine, which is weird because it's the only one that doesn't have any dialogue from the movie. And it's the shortest. It's only a minute, so it's just kind of interesting to see these. It's always interesting to see these trailers before you see the movie. Most of the time when I watch these movies, I watch the movie first, and then I see the trailer, and it's and I'm thinking that might actually be an interesting concept for next season. If the next movie in the line has a trailer to it, I'll watch that before I watch the movie. Just to see what happens, because everybody who saw these movies usually saw the trailer before they saw the movie. So there you go. A lot of still photographs. I think the trip, and there's lobby cards and stuff like that. But I think the trip was the advertisements. I loved reading the advertisements. They had a lot of scans of old vintage newspaper ads that featured they had a lot of twofers for the Haunted Strangler and Fiend Without a Face. But Criterion being Criterion also showed a bunch of the different ads around them, such as ads for movies, other movies. It all totally made me think oh hey, we're the Criterion Collection. We couldn't afford these movies, but we could damn sure show you the ads and the things From Here to Eternity, No Time for Sergeant. Well, actually, they did get No Time for Sergeants in the golden age of television. I think it was No Time for Sergeants. Yeah, it was No Time for Sergeants. Andy Griffith. And some other movies. A lot of stupid movies She Should Have Said No, aka Wild Weed, which is a marijuana protest film, those propaganda films about marijuana. And then Mom and Dad, which is apparently a really popular sex education or sex hygiene film. So yeah, this is kind of interesting to see, what the other half was living back in 1958. Funny enough, I didn't think I saw any ads for The Blob. They mentioned The Blob in the when comparing it to other films, comparing this to other films. So Anyway, that's it for me. Yep. And that concludes our Wednesday horror palooza. Hope you were spooked. Hope you were spooked off your butt. Let's talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow and the future, of course. So that's it for today, of course. Tomorrow, Black Narcissus. Then Friday, I Know Where I'm Going. Saturday, All That Heaven Allows. Then Sunday, hopefully Sunday will be Written on the Wind. Monday will be Do the Right Thing. Tuesday, La Ventura. Wednesday, Give Me Shelter. We might just save it for Thursday. And then Thursday or Friday, Beastie Boys Video Anthology, and then we're done with the first 100. So the end is upon us. We have only 8 more movies until we are done with this season. And yes, I'm calling it season because we're just gonna try it, Anyway, that's it from me. Thanks for watching. Get creeped out. Beware the Blob and the Fiend Without a Face. And we will see you tomorrow for Black Narcissus. Black Narcissus. Anyway, that's it for me. So thanks. Good night.